So now we've got these set up. I'm just gonna actually switch these around because now this one's the second one. So this is number 2. So just not to get confused. So first thing you can do is, right now we're in session mode, and you can see if I do this, if you're not in session mode, just click the session mode button. If you do this, you can see all of these are receiving input. So if you just drag a sample, so if you click this to activate the browser and go into the samples category and just drag in any sample, or you can even drag in a song if you don't have any samples, you'll see this lights up and it will change the track accordingly, and if you color it, it will change color, okay? And if you press, you'll get audio out, okay? So that's basically session mode. I'm not going to cover anything else in session mode because I never use it. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do now is right click here and do insert MIDI track. And I'll just delete by selecting and pressing delete for the audio track. And go into your browser again, so this button here. And under instruments, drag in a drum rack into your MIDI track. Okay, and I'll hide that. And now we've got a drum rack. So you've got this matrix, and you can basically drag samples in it. So if I actually open the browser up again and put any sample in, you can use this also to search samples. So I can put like a kick here, and okay, I'm just going to put this in. It's just for it's just to illustrate how it works. And now if I press this, you can see audio's coming out, and that's what we want. But if we actually go into user mode in our Launchpads and press, nothing happens. So the easiest way to just activate this so it receives stuff from the Launchpad is just to press this, especially if you've got only one Launchpad. And now if you see me pressing stuff, you'll see the buttons responding, and this button is for the kick. So something to notice is the buttons don't actually go like this in this order in user mode. They actually go, because they're kind of like notes, so they'll actually go like this, as you can see here. Okay, so now I'm playing this kick, and now I've moved it 1, so it's here. And now if I move it again, it'll be here, see? But if I move it up here, it won't be here, it'll be here. Okay, so I think that's pretty easy to understand. As you can see, it goes 4x4. So the way the Launchpad works is, if you're watching in HD, you can see the buttons light up. It goes up like this, okay, up to here, and then here, so starting from here, it'll start from here again, okay? So it's kind of divided into 2. So just keep that in mind. So that's the easiest way to drag a sample in. The only thing is, so what happens if I press this Launchpad? Okay, so it's receiving from the same, like, both Launchpads are sending to the same track. Okay, but what happens if I want audio on this one and on this one, and I want like maybe a kick here and a clap on this one? Well, what I can do is I can just duplicate this. So Control, or actually just right click it and select duplicate. On Windows it's Control D. And now this is what the exclusive ARM and solo does. It allows you to do this, to click this again for more than one track. Otherwise, this would have happened. So if I hold Control, this is what would happen normally. And if you don't want to activate it, just hold Control to activate both of them. But I just like being able to just click this without holding Control, and I can solo and ARM as many tracks as I like at once. So that's what the exclusive is. So if it's activated on exclusive, you can only solo and ARM one track at a time, which we don't want. So now we've got 2 of these. And if I go in and look for a clap and drag it maybe here, you can see now, okay, but that's not what we want. We want just the kick here and just a clap here. So here you can see we've only got a kick, and here I'm going to delete this kick and have this clap. Okay, this is what we want, but we can play both samples on both tracks. So I hope you're following me here. So what you can do is you can click this little button here, I/O it says, and now you'll get this pop up, okay? And if you go to MIDI from, so this is basically the input. It's saying which controller do you want it to receive from. You can select Launchpad Pro number 1 here and Launchpad Pro number 2 here. And now you can see this is receiving, but if I press this, it doesn't receive it anymore. And here, same thing. Okay, so this one, this track here, which has a clap, will only receive from this Launchpad here, number 2, because we set that like that. And this one here will only receive from will only receive messages from this Launchpad here, so I can only play the kick with this Launchpad. So I hope that's good enough of a demonstration for you guys to understand. There's another way to set it up without using the record, and you can just select monitor to in. Okay, but I prefer to keep it auto, just because if you then have some MIDI clip, so if I just record this, so if you hit this button and then stop, I can play this. Okay, but if I had this selected like this, you wouldn't hear it. So it's just nice to have it set up like this, so you can hear any MIDI clips. So anything that's programmed, you can hear it, but you can also play the Launchpad at the same time. So that's what I recommend doing. So that's it for audio. Now, if we insert another MIDI track, I'm going to teach you guys how to get the buttons to light up. So you can do the same thing here. You can just record this arm. You can do the same thing with monitor, but same thing if you've got a light show on a MIDI clip or something. It's just nice to have that there. Or if it's a MIDI tutorial, it's nice to have the monitor to auto, so you can play it. You get the lights turning on, but also you can see them turning on if you're following a MIDI tutorial. And so what you're going to do is, at the moment, nothing's happening, right? So make sure this is selected, so you've got the outputs. The reason why nothing is happening, because it's receiving from both Launchpads actually at the moment. So you can see with this, you can see this is responding. Okay. So if I select this and select Launchpad Pro number 1, you'd expect this to turn on, right? But it's not. So what you want to do, channel 3 works if you select channel number 3, but it's actually a bit glitchy, I've found. So use channel number 6, okay? And now you'll get the lights working. And so that's how to get one Launchpad working. And the only thing with this setup is we haven't specified what it gets an input from. So it receives messages from everything. So if I press this, it will turn on, but if I press it here, it will also turn on. So if you see, it's receiving this button from this Launchpad, and then it's sending it to this Launchpad here, as we specified. If you only want this Launchpad to receive messages from this Launchpad and ignore messages from that one, just select input from Launchpad Pro number 1. And now I can press this, but if I play this one, it won't work. And then I can just duplicate this by right-clicking and duplicating, and selecting Launchpad 2 and Launchpad number 2, and always channel 6, and arm it again. And now we've got separate lights. So that's the basics of how to set up a project in Ableton.